Hi guys and welcome back. Today I am focusing on just drawing an eye all on its own and watercoloring it, but I used to just sit down and draw so many eyes on my sketchbook, just singular eyes. And I've since beat that habit so that now I try to draw full faces and actual people and significantly more substance when I am sketching. But when it comes down to it, it's really enjoyable for me to just sit there and draw eyes. And I've been thinking too, every time that I draw an eye or paint an eye in my YouTube videos, they're so small and such a short amount of time that they're gone in like a second and you can barely even see it anyways. So I figured I would take a little bit of time and draw just an eye and focus just on that and do it nice and big so that we can actually see what I'm doing, kind of the structure that I put into the eye and the plan of attack I have as far as the order of business when I am painting an eye, since it is normally very, very tiny. I had a lot of fun focusing on this too. It's really pleasant for me to be able to just sit down and paint an eye because I don't really have to think too much about the composition or whether I'm getting the anatomy right or the perspective right. There's just so many things that while it's really satisfying to be able to figure out and get it right, it also can be a bit of a hindrance when I just want to sit down and enjoy creating art and enjoy using the supplies that I have or just doing a little quick watercolor painting. So that was what today was. It was just getting back in touch with some of the things that I used to really enjoy, just enjoying it, and I'm excited about showing it in a little bit more of a slow pace for you guys. So this actually full speed took me about half an hour to paint and draw all of this, but that was a little bit long for this video. So it is sped up, but not nearly as much as my normal videos, and certainly not nearly as much as my normal eyes when I'm normally painting them. So we can get a little bit of a actual shot at seeing what's going on. Although you probably noticed that the sketch part of this video I let go by really fast since we don't want to get too hung up on that. I don't actually know how long I spent on the sketch itself. So I guess really it definitely took me more than half an hour to complete every step of this whole process, but that's all right. It's okay to take a little bit of time and enjoy it. I find that that's something that I do a lot where I'll feel this need to go faster, and that if I'm not creating a piece fast enough, then it means that I am not creating art in the way that I should be. But really, if I spend a little bit more time on something, that usually means that it's better quality. It tends to lean more on the side of quality over quantity. So I'm trying to change the way that I think about some things like that. But anyways, I've been feeling a lot lately where, and it's the same with anything really, but since we're talking about eyes and I'm drawing an eye today, I've been thinking a lot about specifically where I'm at with drawing eyes. So I've realized that I've gotten into a bit of like a little rut. So, and that happens all the time. It's kind of a cycle for me where there may be something in specific that I'm feeling really excited about learning how to draw it better and how I can study other ways to draw it and how it looks different on different people, like eyes, like eye shapes. And then I'll do all this practice and I'll figure something out that I really love how it looks, and then I draw it a bunch and then it becomes muscle memory, and then suddenly everything becomes, not suddenly, but over quite a little while, things get a little bit more homogenized, and that tends to be my attack plan for how to draw that particular thing. And then I realize that I've been a little bit stagnant with the way that I'm drawing something, and then I'll start that process all over again. And I've been feeling that a little bit with the eyes that I've been drawing lately. I've been feeling a little uninspired with them lately. They tend to have basically the same formula on how I shape it, as well as the same basic eye shape, same basic eyelid shape, since there are so many variations on how eyes can look and how the skin around the eyes can occur and fold, and how eyebrows look. And I'm ready to start focusing on figuring out better ways to do that, and in particular better ways that I can draw eyes that have more emotion and a life to them. I've been feeling a lot like they've been looking a little a little dead. So I'm ready to go down a path of rediscovering new ways to draw eyes. And honestly, that's the thing that makes me feel the most passionate about art and the most motivated to keep drawing more work is when I feel like I have something to learn and something to improve on. I love that feeling, this fire inside of me that makes me want to create more better stuff. And I went into this painting with actually a completely blank idea on how I wanted to approach the colors. I actually really like that for things like this where it's not a really large or complicated composition. I can just let my imagination go while I'm painting on it. And I don't have to get too stressed out about color comps or whether everything is working exactly. And I find that when I have opportunities like this to just play with the colors, I learn new things on how I like to combine them, what things I'm really interested in exploring more in a full realized capacity. So that was this painting. It was just me diving in. I did start to get an idea of maybe I'd want to use some greens in the eye when I did the line work. That was the point that I had to start figuring out just a little bit of the steps of colors that I was going to use. I am using some India ink. Actually, no, that's a lie. I forgot. Today I'm actually using acrylic ink, which is waterproof when it's dry, or at least that's what it says on the bottle. But I didn't have any issues with it reactivating like I have with some other acrylic paints. But I'll actually have that listed down in the description if you want to check it out. I was really happy with this one too because it was a very opaque ink. So there was none of the paper showing through and there wasn't any weird layerings where I might have gone over the same line a few times. So I really liked that. I liked the opacity of it, but it was with a bottle of ink and a brush or a couple brushes. And I'm getting there. I think that it's going to be a long path, but a long, good path of figuring out how to do line work with a brush and a bottle of ink. But anyways, I decided that I wanted to mix this or use this darker olive green color. And that was the jumping off point for the color of the iris, which I wanted to match that. So I went in with a green for the iris, a really nice, bright, unnatural kind of acidic green. And from that kind of led out to doing blues for the whites of the eye, which, by the way, is a really good kind of a default color. If you just want something that will look a little bit closer to realistic, blue is actually what it looks like when the shadow hits the eyes for the most part. This is like a general rule. Not for everyone and not for every situation, but if you're at a loss as far as how to shade an eye, blue is a good one to go to. So I did start with that, and I didn't love it right away. I didn't like how saturated the white of the eye was. I felt like it was taking away from the contrast and the impact that I wanted in the iris rather than spread out over the whole eye. So after a little bit of playing with that, I eventually go back over the entire eye with a wash of, I think it's Payne's Gray. In any case, it was kind of this really grayed out blue color on top of the white of the eye, and that really knocked down the saturation quite a bit, which I like. That's what I wanted, and it brought the whole white of the eye darker, which I actually really enjoy painting that. I think that it has kind of this like stormy, moody look to the eye, so I always enjoy giving the whites of the eye a little bit of a darker tinge to it. I also oftentimes like to go in and make the white of the eye. I know there's an actual scientific word for that. I should probably know it, but I like to go in and make it really dark, and then have light irises. I think that looks really cool. But in this case, I let the white of the eye be darker than bright white, which usually looks a little bit more natural anyways, but I like it. I think it pushes that into a little bit more of an emotional state. And then I went in with this complementary pink color for the skin around it. I wanted it to kind of balance off of the greens and the green iris. And at first I was like, I don't know if I feel really attached to this. I don't know if it was the right choice, but the more that it sat on my desk and I came back and looked at it, the more it warmed up to me. I do really like it, actually. I like that it helps the eye really stand out and have that punch to it, but it also has a little bit more life and freshness to it rather than if I had just gone in with a really cool color, which I love painting skin really cool colors. So I think it was different than what my normal approach would have been, which is good. And I think that it did help give it, yeah, a little bit more variety when you're looking at it. And the ink that I'm using for the white highlight is Dr. P.H. Martin's, I think it's called Pen White. I'll have a link to it down in the description because I tried so many white inks, white India inks, white acrylic inks, and none of them were opaque enough. You could always see some of the line work underneath or the colors showing through, and some of them actually reactivated some of the colors below it, and I was so unhappy with so many of those white inks that I had tried. But this one, it is opaque completely, and I love it. I love it for that, so I'm really happy with it. I definitely will have a link down there for you guys, and actually I'll have links to everything else that I used to create this painting down in the description. And I do have this original eye painting available at my shop. It's actually very cheap, so if you'd like to own an original piece of artwork, then this is a great, easy way to just jump right in there and get some. But I will have a link right at the top of the description that'll take you over to my art shop. And that is about it for today. I will be back next Wednesday with another video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you then.